Hey everyone, looks like we're up and running and got a new logo up there, um, and it's let's say pretty complete and goes into many topics and to elaborate upon them. Uh, I believe I got a list wrote up of points that I wish to expand upon and also put some more insight into at this time. First thing I got on the list here is twin flames. Now, this is an important subject and topic, and of course, it's part of the Ascension as well. And what I wish to say with this is twin flames play a very important role in this overall ascension, especially the creator twin flame pairs. And having said this, get rid of this. Having said this, for the most part, over the last 2 to 3 years, the twin flames couples in unions have been more or less capped. And there's several reasons for this, that they were unable to go further forward into what they came here to do, to increase their energetics, to also transition more of the timelines. And because there were many obstacles in the way of that. However, having said this, we always have the solution, so there are no real, let's say, problems with anything. It's just that, time, that you have to have patience when things feel like they're going nowhere or are delayed, because we're connected with it all. And there is so much, if you will, at stake here. And what's at stake, if you will, is we're changing an entire reality. It's been imprinted into humanity, let's say, for thousands of years. And we are overnight, if you will, changing everything in respect to the reality, what was known. So, having said this, there are many divine ones. There's a huge ground crew of, let's say, divine angelics, ascended masters, divine delegates, divine representations. There's also a galactic element that is also upon the planet. There are multi-dimensional light beings. So there's a huge consortium and conglomeration, if you will, that's assisting with this overall ascension to assure, that it gets done. But again, it's the ascension is energetics, and it's creation as well, and we're dealing with creation and changing reality. So it can be very complex, and with metaphysics and physics, but again, it's important to know when you do one thing energetically into the creation energy, it affects everything. So it is, let's say, done in such a divine, delicate matter that everything is overseen on what is affected at certain times, and how far we go forward with things. But getting back to the twin flame element, and just to simply put it as well, when two come together, two especially twin flames that have most of their divine, most of their inner work done, if you will, when they come together, the energy that is created is let's say, I love to say, millions of times more than just two. It's very exponentially, it changes and affects reality greatly. Having said that, so again, what I need to say is that for the most part, a lot of these twin flame unions have not really come yet together. What I'm given, there's about 7 creator twin flame pairs that are in physical union at this time. There are other pairs that are in different stages and levels of coming together. And we also have there's many subsequent twin flame pairs as well. And as we go forward, what actually occurs, if you look at and take the analogy of soul groups, then within these soul groups, when the higher energetics support it, you have many other subsequent twin flames that are also being added to the planetary mix. And these numbers are increasing, I like to say daily, as more and more do their work. They come together to do this great service, as divine service for the planet as well. So without going too much into that, what I wish to say is that any of you in a twin flame relationship, or once you are aware of that term twin flame, then that means, you know, you've got a consort out there, a partner, and the coming together is to do important divine work with that. I haven't have a look here, just make sure there's no comments, or no comments yet, so that's great. I'll just keep rambling on, if you will. So what's been occurring is, in the last several days, what has occurred in the last several days from the sun, which is applying all of the energetics to, for the most part, to assist with the planetary ascension, is huge magnetism is coming in. And with this, what I wish to say is that magnetic is feminine oriented energy, and when we look at electrical, is the masculine oriented energy. So whatever is being applied to the surface from the sun at certain times, it will have different effects upon the masculine and the feminine. Now, again, having said this, the magnetism, when that is incoming, which has been coming, you know, the last week or so, except for the last 2 days, when that comes in, that supports the divine feminine energetically to the degree that it uplifts, because they are more compatible with this energy, and it vigorates, if you will, the divine feminine and empowers her, while at the same time the divine masculine will feel heavy, feel density from it, because they are more electrical oriented. So it will have a different effect upon them. And it's important where I need to say this, because let's take in the last 7 days with the divine masculine, and depending also where each masculine is on their level of progression, what occurs is that they begin to feel these symptoms. I got a little bit of a distraction there. So getting back on point with the magnetism, it affects the masculine, and how it does that is with they feel the density. So what you have over the course of the last several days, yesterday it broke good for the masculine in today, but they were, let's say, inundated with a lot of magnetism that had come to the planet, because it's an energetic supply, because also with Gaia, the planet. We are ascending her higher, and part of that is applying from the sun the energetics to increase her magnetic and electrical fields to a higher energy that takes her through the dimensional layers, if you will. So the masculine for, let's say, 7 days ago to about 2 days ago, they were feeling quite a bit of a density, a heaviness, fatigue, if you will, and these are all normal symptoms. But not only was the masculine feeling that, you're also feeling an outside density, which is created, let's say, by the masses, and about the it's created because of several things that I won't get into right now, and I will a little bit later. So with the masculine, they have been feeling this and needed to contend with this. So what I'm saying, for the masculine, there's nothing wrong at all with your physical vessel. It's all energetic. And at the same time this was occurring, you had the divine feminine, if you will, empowered and standing up. But at the same time you had a truth, a higher truth that was being delivered as well from the divine feminine, where they went into, let's say, more of a truth warrior mode, and speaking, more from the truth and the higher truths. And this is divinely orchestrated to have an impact on that lower timeline as well, to interject from the higher timeline truth down in there to break it up. Because what's occurring with the overall ascension, it's that lower timeline. And when I speak about the lower timeline, it's ones that are not conscientious yet, or awake even, of what is actually occurring upon the planet. And also in that mix you have many levels of ones that are just beginning their journey and what have you. But also in this mix, in this lower timeline, you have, unbeknownst to these individuals, that they are actually co-creators as well, and that they are adding to the energy. And what's important with this lower timeline, is when they continuously with their thoughts energize this, then it keeps creating a certain energy that is not compatible with us up here. So then what occurs is that you got two timelines that are in conflict of each other. One wants to take humanity higher, if you will, to keep it simple, and free them, while this other timeline wishes to keep them in a looping scenario with constant density being created. Because in this lower timeline, it's inequality, it's not balanced. And what that does, it's disharmonic, it's discordant energy, while the higher timeline is all harmonic and equal, if you will, and it's harmonious. So you have you have a contrast of two timelines that are in conflict with each other. And of course the light in the higher timeline is the one that is the dominant one to take things forward. But you have the lower timeline that's like an anchor that will not let you go forward very quick. So what occurs from the higher timeline, ones go down, interject, if you will, higher truths and knowledge into there. So we bring more of ours up out of that lower timeline to make the higher timeline more energized, so we can take the whole ascension forward much quicker. So I'll have a look here. I got a couple more things wrote down to see what I'll get into next with this. So having said this, with the masculine and the feminine over the last week, it's been, very interesting, uplifting for the feminine, and with the masculine, a little bit of, density feeling and what have you. But with the divine feminine, it's very important, and Femke wanted me to add this in, what I'm about to say as well, and I see some other way showers, teachers, Ascension teachers are also putting it out and mentioning it, and it's very important. And what this is we are having, in the last few days, more divine feminine feeling this space, this pure void space within them, if you will, that they're not distracted by disharmony from the outside. So they definitely feel this purer space of able to project love outward, but it's much higher than anything before, and I need to say it's unprecedented. But what is actually occurring, the divine feminine that have been feeling this, they are divinely prepared to be the conduit for this higher influx of light which is coming in very shortly, and it's a higher co-creator quality with it. So these divine feminine are not only holding the space for that to bring it in to the current surface of the planet and the current energetics in the timeline. So not only have they been being prepared for it, there is this other purpose that very shortly, perhaps in about 11 hours, I'm just giving it, will begin, that they'll begin to bring in, if you will, from the sun what is being emitted, and begin to project this higher energetic value out into the present energetic environment. And what this does, it's positive oriented, and what this begins to do, it begins to transmute, if you will, more of the density of that lower timeline that has kept many encapsulated. So we are working in many-fold ways to break down that conditioning. And this is, again, one part of that, by holding the higher space in to this reality. It helps with transitioning this reality much quicker. And as we know, so many of you are tired with the present reality, and we want the new. So divinely, there are all these techniques and modalities that are given to the individuals and ones to utilize to the greatest effect for the divine co-creators that know what is going on, that are, let's say, the vanguard at least, and then that information trickles down to the other levels. And yes, I am saying that there is a hierarchy of sorts, but it's not a hierarchy where ones think they're better than the others. It's just that they are more informed and more knowledgeable of what's going on, and they are very conscientious and respectful, and with all of the good qualities to distribute and purvey that information down for the others, so they can rise up to shoulder, brothers and sisters, doing the one thing for all. And it doesn't matter whatever you may think about a hierarchy, a hierarchy. It doesn't matter. It's always in place, as long as you know that there is an actual source entity, conscious entity. It's always there until we get out of there. And as long as there's teachers in this realm, that means there's students. So you always have that. But we are going to the place where you don't always have it, where we have the equality, and this is what we're building now. And then the souls are free. You have your free will to do more of what you know you're able to do in the least. Okay, great. I'll just keep speaking. I see we got some comments on her now. So that's important with that. So just going back to the energy, the masculine electric and the feminine magnetic, and I need to gender orient these because this is so. There is a reason, you know, simply and basically why you acknowledge that you have a feminine side and a masculine side, and how important that is to create the balance. So as within you, so without, with the energetic field of Gaia, what we're in. So when the energetic field of Gaia is, let's say, increased, because this is what we're doing, to lift her up, then you, everyone, needs to be calibrated to higher proportions to be able to sustain the higher dimensional energies. So again, it's important for ones to know at least a little bit of how energetics work, so that when you are having ascension symptoms, that you know that there's nothing wrong with your body, and that you don't go into states of fear and begin to create, because you're a powerful co-creator, that you don't begin to create more disharmony for yourself. The opposite of fear is trust, and you need to trust in yourself and the divine plan. This is what empowers you and takes you forward. And yes, you know, with these ascension symptoms, it can knock you right off your feet, and there's divine reasons for that, because there are important upgrades at times that come in to your physical vessel to upgrade it, and you need to be, let's say, laying down or even asleep. So your physical vessel is evolving internally, right at the cellular level. Not only is your DNA changing, but also the crystalline process has begun. And this is an extensive process with the physical vessel, and it's ongoing the higher you go up. And the reason that you have this crystalline process ongoing is because it's required to take these organic vessels into the higher dimensional realities, where density, negativity, disharmony, inequality does not exist. So it's essential. Now, having said this, and I keep just so busy, but over the next few days, I anticipate I need to put out a couple instruction videos to assist with balancing your energetic fields and empowering yourself and calibrating your energetic fields to the new increased energies as well. So I anticipate to have some instruction out to that effect in a few days. We'll see what occurs divinely. Now, currently at this time as well, you have in this lower timeline what I call remnants of the darkness. Now, two things are correct. The higher truth that darkness doesn't exist, and you need to know that to raise yourself higher as well. And they don't exist because you have the choice to say that they don't. However, in this lower dimension, and this will sound like a contradiction, but it's not when you understand fully what I'm saying. There is the remnants of the darkness that is there. And at this time, this darkness is very threatened. It's becoming more and more compressed all the time. So at any times, let's take, for example, when you see trolls, minions commenting on your posts, you know, with absolute vile, that it's unmistakable that, you know, they're not human, they're actually evil. When you see that increases, that is a great sign that you're taking things forward as well, because they become very threatened, and it's important to know, and really when you see that, you should be smiling to yourself, because that means we're getting closer, you know, to the place where darkness itself cannot exist. So while you may have, let's say, trolls or minions, dark ones on your post, you also have ones that are souls, but during the course of this ascension, no stone goes unturned, and ones need to rise out of fear. So you will have some resistance of ones that are genuine souls that become afraid, and their only course of action, depending on where they're at, if they're in great fear yet, is to attack as well. And so have the understanding of that, and use your discernment who is genuine and who is not. With a genuine one, if they are like attacking, you will see an opening with them, and you will feel them, and you can assist them to the degree they're opening. With the darkness, you'll feel, and you will know that if there is no opening, if they're not responsive to anything you're saying, then you definitely know that they are actually put there for a reason to distract you, or also for you, from the higher perspective, to sharpen and hone your divine skills at recognizing what is out there that, you know, that others have to contend with or deal with, so you can assist the others as well. So everything does serve a purpose, and it's best to look at everything as absolute value and how it's benefiting your empowerment as well by knowing this. So yes, with the planet, again, I got the next one wrote down here. So we're balancing the energetics, and believe me, this is a very delicate, intricate, complex energetics, what is involved with this. And having said this, ones of you that follow what I put out and are also involved in these activations, these are very absolute important activations. And you know, one thing with this, to let you know how powerful you are, and all of us as one group. I love to use one of the most recent confirmations when we activated Christ the Redeemer statue hill in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. How a few hours afterward, you know, boom, the big shot of lightning come right down, hit the top of the statue of Jesus' head, and caught on camera, you know. And what we were doing with that activation, for none of you that don't know, we were energizing, we were bringing in the electrical white light. And for any with lightning, that's what it is. It's a high electrical component. But the importance of this, you know, also is to confirm and to show you that this is very real, and to have no doubt with yourself with any activations what you are doing. But also, if you get called, let's say telepathically, or feel to do something in alliance with any activations that take things forward, if you will, do not question it. Do not question yourself. Go with it as well. And I'm speaking with ones that may be just entering the levels where they're learning more about energy and doing activations, because there is another group that is just coming in to this awareness, the importance of activations, adding light, working with energy. So this is important. So we are doing this, with the planetary field. Having said that, a few recent divine activations was to distribute a constant but intermittent flow of positrons, protons from the sun to the planet, to change the energetics of your internet in your electrical grid, which was overbalanced to the negative. About 72% of these energetic fields were electrons, which are a negative spin. And when we bring in the positrons, what that does is, let's say this was the 70 negative, then it begins to level it up. But as this begins to level up the energy that is coming from your electrical grids in your internet, when that begins to level up, you are going into the positron, into the positive, into the light. And what occurs with this, it affects reality substantially as well, where any density, any deception, any negativity has to be fully begin a full, what will I put it, being revealed, being exposed as well. But unbeknownst to many, they begin to change, to become more moral, to be able to think, because the brainwashing and conditioning begins to be broken, where they're not subjugated by a dense energy. So you'll begin to see signs of that, and to keep it simple, more awakening. And this is what it does. So all of these activations that we do, they are done for divine reasons, and believe me, anyone, I would not be doing all of this if it was not divinely required to do, and we know that. So it's beautiful. So the positron distributions, that continues indefinitely from this time, and I believe if you look now, you'll see a geomagnetic storm. The proton density is increasing as we speak right now, and also with this proton density is coming in part of the preparation in the element for the divine feminine in that space, what I spoke about earlier, and more so in about 10.5 hours, or let's say 10 hours and 33 minutes from now. It's going to come in a little bit higher for these divine feminine, but what comes with that also comes energetic instruction for where they may need to apply it, but it may not come in an instruction where it's spoken. They will just know, and they will feel what to do with it, because it's written energetically, the instructions in the energy, and the energy doesn't need to be translated into words. It is the knowing with that, what to do. So currently we are in a very rapid part of the flash. if you will. So what I give ones is that, ones are speaking about a solar flash. Well, again, a solar flash, let's say, began 2012. We're here now. In between this and above it is the length of that solar flash. But we're at a period that we're getting higher in the flash to come out, poof, where the reality has changed where we want it. And where we want it is based in love. We want it equal. We want it harmonic. We want it balanced. We want no distortion. And this is what the divine mission is here upon the planet, to take humanity to that first echelon where that is of civility and out of the present savagery that you have. And what is divinely required to do with that, in facilitate it, is what we're doing. You'll see this is a divine instrument above that is so important, and I'll get into more of the reasons why this is so important and why it's directly connected to the Ascension in a few moments or so. So I'm just giving a lot of information out here, and at this time, and taking the liberty to get it out, to get it integrated into the timelines, because we are amidst a great shift right now as well. So we wish to get the information out, get it distributed. The more that are knowledgeable of what is divinely occurring, the greater the shift that we make all together. So, yeah, so again, next point I got here. So, on the lower timeline, anything that is hidden or concealed, that is in conflict to transparency, to divinity, to what God is, to what truth is. Truth does not conceal anything. And with this, when you see things on the planet like non-disclosure agreements and keeping things from the public, that's a total red flag. That is not divinely oriented. Divinity does not conceal things. And this is also another reason why you see this is public and given to the people, and it's fully transparent with its full integrity intact. When you have things with NDAs, if you will, and things concealed, that is not integrity. It's not honesty. When something is hidden, it is deception, which is the opposite of truth. And that's very important for ones to distinguish, to know. If you're watching this and you're involved in some of these lower timeline narratives, you need to make the choice to not be involved in a deceptive narrative, but now also not to be involved in the worldwide capitalistic deceptive narrative as well. So what you need to do with that is, yes, you still need to exist and survive, but you detach yourself from it as much as you possibly can, because you don't wish to be. The capitalistic structure is this lower timeline as well. And the more that you're involved in that and energizing it, the more you are allowing it to exist. But not only that, the more disempowered you become as well. So you need to limit yourself and disconnect yourself from that lower timeline as much as you can, because with that comes more empowerment. So at this time, there's so many struggling upon the planet, and what I say, do what you can to survive now, but keep your integrity intact. Do not lie, do not get caught in any deception, because as an energetic magnet, what you are involved in, you will attract to you, and it will continue to attract other things that are like it, that are negative. So you need to make this choice for yourself as an empath, as a sensitive being, and also as a divine one that is ascending higher. So you need to make these choices. Now, you don't need right in this moment to believe what I'm saying, but at least give it the benefit of the doubt and try it, and then you'll confirm it for yourself. For if you have doubt, you still have fear, and that has to go. And when you try things that I say, at least, and be open, you will receive your own confirmations, and that brings you up higher, and you are adding more value to the ascension as a whole, and we get this mission done quicker. So we have two timelines in conflict as a result. So a request for all the co-creators that are conscientious and know that they are co-creating to get on board with this timeline up here. This is the equal, God-like, harmonious timeline. It's important. And to separate from any narrative that is not based on equality and empowerment of the individuals. So, just to keep it simple. Now, what's also occurring that is coming up is, and what has occurred, and this is part of, let's say, the natural ascension process, is you have a level of ones, and you have different levels with this ascension. Like you have, first wave, or second, third waves, and these are distinct waves and levels of their divine development into their power. But with this, also with ones that are getting ready to step into another level of empowerment, you will see them expliciting examples of what will look like a spiritual bypassing, where they'll actually know, or they think they know the material, and will speak it. However, it's not embodied yet. They're not acting it out, and this is an important part of the process of embodiment. So they need to know that they need to attach the actions to what they're speaking, which is very important. So you're seeing this as well coming up now, and it's being tested, because we are in these times where morality within the individual, within the heart space, is being strengthened, and everyone is changing to the quick degree that they need to be. And when I say everyone, I'm not speaking about all of the masses. You don't need all of the masses. I'm speaking about the ones that have awakened, because they're becoming more empowered to create this new reality upon the planet, and it's part of the process to have it embodied. So they are acting with their intention from their heart, from the place of at least morality. So this is occurring without going deep into and explaining all of the reasons why. So as I mentioned, the existing physical pyramids upon the planet are important. I'll take some messages when I'm done with this in a few minutes. So not only are there physical pyramids upon the planet, there are also energetic pyramids that are, let's say, for ones that yet with your physical eye you can't see them. So let's put a term, they're multi-dimensional. But they are there. They have a certain place in a certain structure and a certain role in this time. And having said this, we have a small divine select group currently working upon a huge pyramid network upon the planet, and it involves also balancing the planet. But having said this, I am saying this here because any of you that may be watching that are part of other activation groups and energetic groups, to let you know and inform you that we are working on, I believe it's 500 and some, I just forget the exact number of pyramids. Right now we have begun. But having said this, there are thousands and upon the planet, tens of thousands really. And what I'm saying is, any of you, if you are guided divinely and given information to work on the pyramids, that's in alignment now, whatever pyramid, wherever pyramid that it may be. But it's also important to understand that there are also energetic pyramidal constructs that are on the planet as well to identify. And these can be not your typical, let's say, 3 or 4-sided pyramids. These can have many different energetic sides to them, so it's not just all, 3 or 4 or even 8. There's many different constructs with that, without getting into that too deep. So, the throat thing. What I wish to say, that's a common symptom in the last several weeks as well. With the throat, and things are in one of the, it's we speak our truth. You can say it's part of the throat chakra, but really what is occurring is that your larynx and all of your area in here is also changing to emit. It's changing to emit a different vibration also when you speak, if you're a divine one, a divine soul as well, and if you have an important role. So what begins is the vibration inside you is changing. So your voice box, your larynx, all of this organic has to change as well to compensate for the different and new vibrations. And as I said, you're changing internally. And with this speaking from your soul and from your heart, which more of you are doing, with that you are going to be having even much more of an effect upon reality. So just sharing that too. Now, and just before I take some questions, very quickly again, this up here, GPMS, it is an Ascension construct. It is a tool as well to facilitate and assist with the Ascension. So what it's doing, anyone down in the lower timeline that's right now facing great hardship, and believe me, there's I'm told it's about 93% of the planet from Father is in some form of lack. But out of that 93%, you perhaps have a huge number of about 46% of the population are in a very impoverished situation. Now, with these ones that are very impoverished and beaten down, they generate a dense energy. For one thing, you know, they have no security. They are in fear. They don't know where their next dollar is coming from. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know where they're going to live and how they're going to survive. So they're in a very intense, fearful survival mode. Now what this does with these masses, it generates a negative energy. And when you have ones up here, the strong empaths that are transmuting energy and also working on their own self-empowerment, and then they need to contend with this extra energy that is coming out into their environment, then it slows these ones down from changing the reality for these ones and all. So this is where GPMS comes in. So GPMS is designed that very simply, ones down here don't need to be awake to choose it. It is designed also logically that it becomes a common sense choice as well. So they just need to know about it. But what it does, where it is hope being actualized under the simple thing that, you know, most everyone upon the planet, at least the adults, know how a vote works or a petition. And once you have the majority all on board with the new reality, the new voice, worldwide, universally, then nothing stops it. So what this does, for the first time ever upon the planet, all of those desolate and destitute and great things of fear, it doesn't give them a false hope. It gives them a real hope that is being actualized, because they can see the votes, if you will, look at it in a petition, growing. This is real. And they know once you have the majority voice, they are no longer in fear. Now what this does, by giving this GPMS vehicle to as many of these as you can, it begins to raise their vibration out of stress. So they then have a direction, and they also know what we are doing to create this new free world. What this does, it raises the vibration of the planet. What this does for every one of you, your fields become stronger. You don't need to contend with unnecessary negativity and density. And you definitely no longer need to be constantly, for these ones in great fear, transmuting energy for them. This is what finishes the Ascension, this mission. So it's that simple. And it's important what I put out many clarion calls for all that are awakened to come on, unite, and be part of this now. And again, this is so powerful that you know that one enlightened one, and I love to use this analogy because it is true, one enlightened one can affect 1,000,000. When you look at that number, and let's say if it's 8 billion people, souls upon the planet that we got to take forward, but it's actually not that many. But if it's 8 billion, that means if you've got 8,000 united divine light workers that are empowered enough and that are conscientious, that know they are co-creating, when you have that combined, that unity, we got it done. You don't need the huge numbers, because the reality is changed as well by just having the right ones all in unity. So with this, the clarion calls I put out time after time of these supposed awakened ones and what have you, come on, get on board with this now, so we get this mission completed. And again, it's but we're doing it, and then they're coming, and it's coming much quicker now. So what this is doing, it's affecting so much great change. So as the numbers get bigger in GPMS, it's a creational energy as well. We're creating a whole new reality, but it's already connected to this one. So the bigger this one gets, the more it implodes and tears down the old one, and the deception and lies and corruption and the robbing of the individual value no longer can exist. It cannot contend with this higher truth and what it is. So know the power of this divine ascension vehicle as well. It takes humanity to the first echelon of the fifth dimensional state of being. It takes humanity to the place where the darkness does not exist and where they cannot exist. And this is the end of the mission when we get this done. Then you have your heaven on earth scenario right here. Then you have your divine, let's say, public first contact coming in from other benevolent ET races. When I need to say there are no malevolent ET races in the fifth dimension. They are all only in the fourth dimension, and during the ascension of this planet, they are quarantined with any direct interference. So they stay behind in the fourth dimension, where we currently are, while we take humanity to the fifth. And malevolence cannot exist in the fifth dimension, because it's not compatible with what the fifth dimensional energy is. So great. I'll have a look. Any questions? No, it looks good. Okay. Hold it. Might be a few. Let me have a look. Now, is the feed still going good? Can someone give me an update on this? I see it was frozen for Lynn. Can someone put a comment, give me an update on the feed? Thank you. Yeah, again, can anyone give me a comment to let me know if the feed's still going, or if there's any questions, now's a great time to ask them. And if it isn't, then I can soon end this. Thank Tim. Yeah, and Lisa. Yeah, Christina. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Any quick questions any of you may have with anything that I spoke about, or anything that I could assist with? I'll take a few questions if you wish. Thank you. Now, looks like everyone is fine. You know, with that, it's great. This is an hour. That's a perfect time to end this one. So with that, lots of winks and kisses and peace. That's what this does too. It establishes worldwide peace instantly, eradicates poverty instantly, because there is nothing to fight for anymore. And when there is no fighting, then you have harmony. So it does so many things, and it's all divinely inclusive. And it's a, let's say it's not a, let's say you could say it's a pipe dream, but it's a pipe dream that you can exist in. So it has the multi dimensional ability. But no, it's real. It's just it's more than what any could ever imagine, and it's you're in the most glorious time upon the planet. So with that, from my heart to all of you, what I wish to say is love, light, and gratitude, and have an amazing morning, day, or night, wherever you may be, and everything is going to be much better than you ever thought it could be, and it's happening very quickly. So, with that, peace. Thank you.